Tony Robbins is wrong on investment fees, and we're going to dive into it deeply here today because this is important for you to understand. By far and away, my most popular blog post is this one. By nothing comes close. Nothing comes close. Tony Robbins is wrong on investment fees. I don't know how that took off, but man, I look at my statistics, and this one by far and away is the biggest post I have. So let's dive right into this because there's parts of this that kind of tick me off. There's other parts that I think you need to know about as you're looking at financial advice. And I've done the research for you, so you don't have to do it for yourself because I did it. All right, so let's dive right into this. And I had written this in 2018, April. So this is going on a year now. The same thing's applicable, I presume. We'll dive into it. Tony Robbins has helped countless people get their lives in order. And I do agree with that because I know a bunch of people who actually got a lot of wonderful advice from Tony Robbins. That guy never did much for me. I did hear him interviewed on James Altucher's show, and I like him. I find him interesting. I think his background is actually quite interesting as well. He definitely is not a silver spoon guy. And I think he married his wife, who's older, and adopted her children or something like that. Just a good guy, man. A good all-around guy. I mean, I'm sure there's more to that than me. See, I literally don't know. But what I've heard about Tony Robbins, I like. I'm a big fan of his. I don't do the thing that whatever I don't do all that stuff. But I know he's helped people, and I think that's wonderful. But when he talks about investment fees, he's absolutely wrong, but not in the way you may think. In this 2017 Market Watch article, he states, fees matter. The impact of excessive mutual fund fees can be devastating. Fees erode returns. So remember, Tony Robbins is writing, fees matter in 2017. Excessive mutual fund fees can be devastating. So just put that, lock that in the back of your mind. We're going to come back to that. This is correct, but it's what he doesn't say, which I have a problem. He is on the board of directors of Creative Planning, which charges fees for investment management. Yes, those fees are not in the investment themselves, i.e. they're not in the mutual funds. But like a mutual fund fee, you are absolutely paying it as the investor. But just because it's not in the mutual fund doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It's still there. And not only Tony Robbins on the board of directors, he's like an evangelist or whatever it's called for creative planning. I presume he still is, where he says, hey, he gets a cut of all the business he generates for creative planning. He gets a cut. I got no problem with that. None at all. Man, more power to you. You see Miss Betsy behind me, by the way. None at all. I'm a fan of that. If you are able to bring people to the firm who are getting value from the firm, man, more power to you. But I do chuckle at the idea that excessive mutual fund fees can be devastating, as if it's only mutual fund fees which are devastating. All fees are devastating. All right. Let's say there are two investment choices. In choice one, it's a mutual fund that has a 1.25% fee. In choice two, your investment advisor charges a 1% management fee, but it puts you in mutual funds with an internal fee of 0.25%. Or you can put you in ETFs with an internal fee of 0.25%. Mutual fund costs 1.25. Index ETF that your investment manager does 0.25, but he's going to charge you 1%. Is there any difference between the two? No, you're paying 1.25 either way. Before the new Trump tax bill, you could potentially deduct a part of that 1% management fee, which you made investment management fees slightly less costly, but those are gone now. So your all-in comparison is 1.25, 1.25. I pay 1% management fee and 0.25% expense ratio. You pay 1.25% mutual fund fee. It's a wash. But here's what bothers me. Robbins' firm, Creative Planning, doesn't even state on their website how much they charge in fees. You have to actually look at their SEC form to find out. So let's take a look at that. All right, so here we're going to look at their SEC ADV. This is dated 1/2018. And let's see what we got. We're just going to go over. Actually, I don't know how to do this on this. How do you do fees? Control F. Word. All right. So let's see what we got. Advisory business, fees and compensation, page 6. So let's take a look here. They manage 32 billion, 590, so 32 billion or something like that. Yeah, 32 billion as of 2017. Fees and compensation, right here. 1.2 on the first 5, 1% on 5 to 2, 0.85 on anything above 2 to 0.5. So you get to see that's their fees. I'm just curious though. Let's take a look if it's on creative planning. I bet it's not. At least it wasn't a year ago. So let's take a look if it's on creative planning, the website. And let's see what we got. Investment management, welcome creative planning. And we're different because here's what they're saying. Different. Now I know a bunch of guys that work there. So I'm not bagging on these guys. I don't like the idea that mutual funds have fees and other firms don't. So I don't see anything for fees. So let's do investment management. Emerging wealth. Yeah, I don't see anything that has anything to do with fees here. Let's see, how do you do? I don't know how to do it on my Mac. I do fine. They manage over 37 billion. Okay, insurance planning. All right, so I don't see anything that. Let's just go here. How we're different. Yeah. I saw something, a single investment. All right, so I don't know. They don't say anything about the fees. You got to go to their website. You got to go to the SEC ADV form. So that hasn't changed. That's too bad. They should have, in my opinion, they should do the fees on the front page website. We're going to go over that a little bit in another video I'm going to do today about that. All right, so you have to go to the SEC form ADV to find out, and I just did that. How many people are going to do that, and you don't even know what that is? They do say overall fees are less than that of an average mutual fund. But that's all I could find on their fee schedule on their website. Overall fees are less than that of an average mutual fund. Jeez. That doesn't say much. And don't forget, Tony Robbins was saying excessive mutual fund fees can be devastating. So is the average mutual fund fees, is that okay? What's excessive? I don't know. What's the average mutual fund fees? I don't know. And then we just talked about on their ADV. So 1.2% on the first $500,000 and 1% on the next $1.5 million. At $2 million portfolio pays $21,000 in management fees. Now, presumably they're using low-cost ETFs and index funds, so we can add another 0.25% on top of that. So the all-in fee in this regard is at $26,000. And a $2 million portfolio is $26,000. You can't write it off either. Now, if it's an IRA, the fees come out pre-tax, which is a pet peeve of mine, so just be advised. IRAs, the fees come out. You don't have to take a distribution, pay tax on distribution, and pay the fee. The fees do come out pre-tax, which is favorable for the fees. No other way around that. And that's not the same thing on your mutual funds. I mean, that is a pet peeve of mine. You shouldn't get the fees coming out of your IRA without having to take a distribution. I guarantee if we change the rules on that, there'd be a whole lot more people saying, why am I taking a $26,000 distribution, which to hand over to you, and which I got to pay tax on? It shouldn't be the way it is, but it is. Same portfolio Vanguard on their advisory platform, 50 basis points. Actually, I think it's lower than that. About 50 basis points, 35 for their management services and another 15 roughly for their ETFs. I bet it's even lower than that now. What do you get with creative planning fee, however? Well, you get a lot of services that Vanguard doesn't offer. Tax preparation, at least that's my understanding. Estate work and others. Does Vanguard do that? Nope, they don't. I know that for a fact. Vanguard does not do that. So are those extra services worth $16,000 a year? That's completely up to you, without question. And look, I'm telling you right now, I know guys that work there, and I'm fond of them. I like them. I respect them. In fact, I told my wife if I got killed, I'd have my wife call Jordan, my man Jordan, who works for creative planning, without question. I don't think you should be paying $16,000. I don't think that's worth $16,000 a year. I'll tell you that right now for the taxes and estate planning, because estate planning essentially, every couple of years you got to review it, but you don't need to do a new trust every 3 years unless things change drastically, and then you just do an amendment. Your will, just do a codicil. I mean, that's it. All right, so that's for you to decide. But my problem is that Mr. Robbins doesn't mention that his own firm has fees, which also erode returns. That's my thing. I don't care about the services they provide. I mean, that's great. If you want the services, more power to you. I got no problem with that. But I just don't like the idea that those guys charge fees. We don't. They do. However, to seemingly justify the fees his firm charges, he cites the oft-used but completely debunked Dalbar study to prove that investors are horrible when left to their own devices. And here's the quote. While the market's return topped 10% a year on average, Dalbar found the average investor made just 3.66 a year over those 3 decades. Because of your horrible investor behavior as an investor, you need professional help a professional help you, and you could gain 3.75% of added value. That's more than 3 times what a typical sophisticated advisor might charge. and doesn't include reducing taxes and more. But the Dalbar study is bad. It's been botched. It's been defeated. Anyone with any sense of mathematics recognizes now that that Dalbar study is not worth the weight it's written on. The paper is written on. The Morningstar does a similar study, much more favorable to the average investor. But the Dalbar study is just, anytime someone uses that Dalbar to show you that they're going to protect you from yourself, just walk out the door. I'm not going to get to it why. I'll leave a link for that right there if you want to see it, and you should. All right, so here's my problem with Mr. Robbins' whole point. He argues investment fees are bad and hurts returns, which is true, but he overlooks the fact his own firm charges similar all-in fees as the same as the investment firms, other investment firms he belittles. Even worse, then he uses a Vanguard study, which has raised eyebrows among many financial planning, to show the value that his firm charges in their fees, the same fees he disparages other firms for. It's a nice argument, actually. Those guys over there charge too much. Come to our firm where we don't charge nearly as much. In fact, there's a decent chance that you could earn more than what our fees are with all these other services we offer. But they do charge roughly the same as most mutual funds. The average mutual fund is about 1 1/4. That's just a fact. Also, while there is some research now in its infancy to suggest some clients might benefit from hiring an advisor, it's not enough that one would want to stake a claim to it. In fact, I'm telling you right now, Vanguard did a study on Advisor Alpha. Yeah, an advisor can help you with your overall performance because of the services an advisor has. Not Alpha, they call it Gamma. That's where they come up with that 3.75%. If you hire an advisor, you could get 3.75% above and beyond what a guy who did not hire an advisor gets. I struggle with that because I think there is some validity to that. The problem is most advisors aren't going to do that. The grunt work that takes to generate that Gamma or Advisor Alpha. I think Vanguard calls it Advisor Alpha. I think some of the other researchers call it Gamma. And it's based on some pretty interesting numbers on taxes as well, and I just don't know about that. I think there's value for sure in hiring an advisor, but to say if you have an advisor, they're not going to say we can prove that. We can show that potentially you can make 3.75 more than that guy down the street doing it on your own. I just don't buy it. I just don't, especially after factoring fees. At the end of the day, though, it's up to you, Mr. Investor. Do what you have to do. Paying commissions, paying fees, paying mutual fund costs, all that professional advisors must get paid somehow. If they're hiring somebody, they're getting paid someplace. How much are they getting paid? Just disclose it. I better disclose on the website. No one would argue that they should get paid. Even Vanguard gets paid, as I told you about, and I know that because I work there. It's just that Vanguard has reached such an economy of scale that their fees are well below industry average, and they're owned by their shareholders. Yet even at Vanguard, if you want professional services, you're going to pay 3 times what you would in their index funds without their professional help. That's just a fact. It's not necessarily a bad thing, though. At least you know what you're getting at Vanguard. And I get tired of industry pointing fingers at everybody else in the industry saying they're doing wrong, all the while they're doing the similar things. It's not just Tony Robbins. Here's Jonathan Clements. Now you may not know who Clements is, but for years he's the personal financial writer in the Wall Street Journal. He laid into the investment industry time and again for his excessive fees and underperformance. Rightly so, I would add. In fact, the irony of all ironies is that he just wrote an article titled, "It's Time to End the Financial Advisor's 1% Fees." Yet where is Clements today? On Creative Planning's board. So it's time to end the advisor's 1% fees, and where is he? He's on the advisor's board, and I just showed you what their fees are. Time to end the financial advisor's 1% fees? Really? Again, I don't fault these guys, but why is it time to end financial advisors' fees before and not now? Doesn't make any sense to me. Fees are fees, folks. You pay them or you don't. You can call anything you want. You can say the fees you charge are different from the fees the other guys charge because your clients get X, Y, Z, whereas the other guy gets only A, B, C. Yet if you ask the other guys, they'll have a justification for their fees too. That guy charges too much. I don't charge. Because they're not justifying the fees. My charge is justified. Why? Because I offer A, B, C. The other guy says that guy charges too much. My fees are justified. Why? Because I offer X, Y, Z. Everyone can justify their fees. To quote Upton Sinclair, it is difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends on his not understanding it. In this case, it's difficult to get a man not to see how his fee adds value when his salary depends on it. The $181,000 piece of bad advice. Finally, we have Jane Bryant Quinn, another provocateur against bad commission-based salespeople. Here she says in a blog, consumers forget that advisors who earn commissions are not their friend. Advisors are nice. They're cheerful. They might even be your brother-in-law. But they have to sell high commission or high fee products to keep their jobs and send them to their kids in school. And who do they sell them to? You. Ah, interesting. Commissions are bad. Instead of paying those she recommends, fee-only advice. But she did say high fee products. Interesting. So again, high fee products are somebody else's bugaboo, not ours. So fee-only advice, that's my choice always. These advisors give you a price list up front for work by the hour, by the task, or ongoing management of your money. They don't take sales commissions, so they're not primed to push products. They sell only their planning and investment expertise. Fee-only planners typically charge 1% on accounts up to $1 million or so and less on larger amounts. But fees have been going up. It says Tom Oriocho of some wealth management firm and former president NAPA. Some firms charge 1.5% or more for the first $500,000. So remember, Jane Bryant Quinn says that she doesn't like, let's see, advisors are not your friend. That's what she says because they earn commissions. And she doesn't like selling high commission or high fee products. They don't like that because that would send you're paying to put their kids in school. And then fee only is her only way to go because they give you the price list up front, which I don't see that creative planning, but let's just say they do. They don't take sales commissions, so they're not primed to push products. They only sell their planning and expertise. But now the fees at 1% are starting to go up to 1.5. So let's run the numbers, shall we? This is what, again, a pet peeve of mine because our commissions is evil, as we've been told. On February 1st, 1998, you invested $250,000 in a diversified mutual fund with Company X that charged a 2.5% front-end commission and a mutual fund fee of 65 basis points a year thereafter. That's American funds right there, by the way. I can't remember why I didn't say American funds at that point. But anyway, it's an American funds. I can't remember the stock. I think it's Investment Company of America. I think, plain vanilla. On the same day, I invested that amount in the same fund, except instead of paying the commission, I was paying an investment management fee of 1% with investment expenses of 0.3%. So I'm paying twice what you're paying annually, but I avoided the commission of 2.5 on the front end because like everybody else, advisors who earn commissions aren't my friends. That's what everybody tells me. So remember, I'm taking two accounts. One is a good old-fashioned American funds that put $250,000 in there, paying 2.5% on the front end and 0.65 a year thereafter. The second one, I'm not paying anything on the front end. I'm paying 1% a year with management expenses of 0.3%. On an annual basis, all right? So which one's worse? Now remember, exact same portfolios. The only difference is the fee structure. Both portfolios have 40% large, 20% small caps, 20% government bonds, and 20% treasury bonds, and are rebalanced annually. According to Jane Bryant Quinn, I should be way better off than you because I paid no commissions, and you, sucker, you did. Yet when you run the analysis using the free tool over at firecalc.com, as of January 2018, my portfolio had an average value of $967,000. Here's how your portfolio would have fared in each of the 49 cycles. The lowest and highest portfolio balance at the end of your retirement was between $250,000 to $2.139 million, with an average of $967,000. Note, this is looking at all the possible periods. Values are in terms of the dollars at the beginning of the retirement period. All right, so your average, just for instance, $967,000, a range between $250 and $2.1 million. On the other hand, here's how your portfolio would have looked if you didn't pay the commissions. If you paid the commissions as opposed to annual fees, it ranged from $243 to $2.5 million with an average value of $1.148 million. All right, does that make sense? So you got the two portfolios, one with commissions, one with fees. The one with commissions, the average was $1.148 million. The one with the fees was $967,000 average. The one with no portfolio commissions, the best was $2.139 million. The one with portfolio commissions, the best was $2.54 million in terms of total value. So if you, tell me, fees are my friend and commissions are not. You would have earned a whopping $181,000 more than I had, even though I paid a commission on the front end. So as you can see, to simply write off commission-based advisors is silly. Yet professionals in my industry do this time and again without even the slightest thought of the consequences. How investment fees could cost you $300,000. Don't forget, Ms. Quinn says you should use a fee-only advisor every time. Apparently, even the guy charging 1.5% would be more acceptable than a commission-based advisor. Unfortunately, if you were to follow Ms. Quinn's advice and choose a 1.5% fee-only advisor, you would have ended up with only $830,000 on average. A max of 1.83 million, an average account balance of 830. So you got the 1% fee, you got the commission, the 1% fee, and the 1.5% fee. That's $300,000 difference between the 1.5% fee and the commission that you paid up front. You would have $318,000 less. That is 38% less in the portfolio from your not your friend commission advisor. Remember, it's not like $318,000 is missing. No, because these accounts are invested the exact same way. It's just they're not in your pocket. They're in your advisor's pocket instead. And so Jane was saying you're going to put your kids, you're going to put that guy's kids through school, your advisor's kids through school on a $250,000, 2.5% commission. Was that $7,000 or something like that? No, I don't think that's $6,500. It costs you $6,500 on the front end. In this case, so it's going to cost you $318,000. So I might put my kid in for a semester of community college because I sold you a commission-based product, but you just put that guy's in for freaking Stanford. Free. My friends, $318,000 can buy a lot of things in retirement. A lot. Let's just put it that way. In fact, it could buy the entrance fee to the continuing care retirement committee. So to wrap all this up, I have a big problem with people who point fingers accusingly all the while they're engaging in the same tactics. If you want to charge a fee for your advice, more power to you. But don't make it seem as if others are doing something differently than what you are. If you feel the advisor business is charging too much for its advice, more power to you. But to turn around and join that same business model seems disingenuous to me at best. If you feel it inappropriate for a person to sell a product and earn a commission, well, what are you going to do when the clients of your fee-only firm is $300,000 less wealthy? There's no one-size-fits-all in this line of work. Remember, everyone gets paid somehow. Board of directors for investment firms get paid by the fees that investment firms charge. Some folks get incentivized to send referrals to an investment firm to grow that firm's business. Well, that might not be a commission. Can that referrer truly be objective? So stop sniping and start helping. I just wish the pros on my side of the business would stop the finger pointing, name calling, and blatant hypocrisy. People need help. And when we cut our competition off at the knees, we are hurting not just the competition, but the profession as a whole. The irony of it all with Jane Bryant Quinn, and I guess I didn't write that on there. Let's take a look. Let's go to Google. Creative Planning Board. Right there. I could have sworn Jane Bryant Quinn was on the Creative Planning Board of Directors as well. Let's take a look. Creative Planning. Yeah, right there. Jane Bryant Quinn and Chris Cox. Why would they name Jane Bryant Quinn? And you know who Chris Cox was? He's an old Republican congressman who became the SEC head when George W. Bush was taking over. It's all a big party, and you ain't invited, my friends. So we got Tony Robbins, Jane Bryant Quinn, Jonathan Clements, Chris Cox. I mean, it's like, what's her name over at Theranos? You know, she hired all these capital and DC bigwigs to be on her board of directors. Now, look, I'm not saying creative planning is going the way of Theranos. I'm not saying that. Please, so don't stop with it. Say, oh, you don't know. I'm not saying this is Elizabeth Holmes or whatever her name was. I am saying, though, it's a big party, and the average Joe ain't invited, man. I chuckle at this for sure. But it's funny because Jane Bryant Quinn, commission-based salespeople are not your friend, but people who charge 1.5% are. Okay. And now she happens to be on the investment firm for a firm who charges relatively high fees. There's no two ways around that. And she said high-fee products are bad. All right, it might not be a product. It's a service. A service is a product. It's a commodity, my friend. So, again, this is not to ramp on creative planning. I don't care. Like I said, I got people that work there. I know those people. I'm not trying to ramp on them. I am trying to say I hate the hypocrisy, though. Say, this is what I charge, and be proud of it. Is your fee worth that $26,000? Well, if it is, then freaking be proud of it. Say it up front. This is why it's worth the $26,000. The issue is I don't think it is. But just because I don't doesn't mean it's not. But disclose it. Anyways, that's my most popular blog by far is Tony Robbins is Wrong on Investment Fees. Hope you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, share, smash, and we'll see you next time. Thanks now.